2019 Škoda Rapid Spaceback Review. The Škoda Rapid Spaceback is usually a compact, practical car that sits over the Fabia but below the Octavia inside check marks range. The Spaceback efforts to blend the looks of the hatchback with all the practicality and adaptability of an estate, and possesses young families on a tight budget in mind. Škoda Scala to exchange Rapid Spaceback. It's a part of Škoda's push to redevelop its range for Europe and find the brand into key markets where they've never had a presence before, while using aim to see sales from the UK are as long as 1.5 million a year by 2019. That said, the Rapid isn't a massive seller from the UK, while using aforementioned models developing a bigger British fan base. Launched in 2014, the Spaceback, and its longer, regular Rapid hatchback sibling, were treated to your facelift with updates towards the exterior, interior and engine range in 2019. It faces off against mainstream hatchback rivals just like the Ford Focus hatchback, Hyundai i30 hatchback and Kia Ceed hatchback. Same passenger space, smaller boot. Škoda deliberately doesn't call the Rapid Spaceback an estate, and for good reason. It's 18 centimeters shorter compared to the Rapid hatchback, instead insisting it's another solution 5-door and developed for lifestyle types instead of out-and-out load lugging. The wheelbase however continues to be the same as the traditional Rapids at 2,602 mm, meaning that the Spaceback has some impressive passenger space. Taller passengers will probably be pleased to find out about the 980 mm headroom. But it will mean boot space has suffered, and even though the Rapid hatchback holds 550 litres of luggage using the seats set up, the Spaceback makes do with only 415 litres. The theme continues once the seats are folded flat, together with the figure dropping from 1,490 litres into a still impressive 1,381 litres. The various double cargo floor however gives a choice of boot floor height and adds some additional practicality. The parcel shelf is usually stowed from the rear seat base too. When you have to carry taller loads, you should not leave the strain cover in your own home. Range of petrol and diesel engines. Based on the very same design, because the Rapid up for the rear fringe of the front doors, it must come as hardly surprising that the Spaceback shares a lot of other components achievable car. And so it is using engine lineup, the leading wheel drive Spaceback boasting a range of diesel and petrol engines. There can be a pair of turbocharged TSI petrols in 1.0 and 1.4 litre capacities, in addition to 1.4 and 1.6 litre TDI diesels. Dependent on which engine you end up picking, there's sometimes a 5 or 6-speed manual available, or even a 7-speed DSG automatic gearbox. The 1.4 litre TDI diesel engine currently ranks since the most fuel efficient within the range, taking place claimed figures of 72.4 miles per gallon and CO2 emissions of 103 grams/km. Design that emotionally connects. There really isn't any getting away from Škoda's need to see this as being a lifestyle addition to its range in lieu of a load lugger, plus the firm even supplies a prolonged rear window. By extending the dark-tinted area of the spine screen into the tailgate by 100 mm, it visually lowers the Rapid Spaceback's rear, rendering it look more glassy. Teamed with all the huge optional panoramic glass roof, you will be forgiven for thinking the glazed area stretches completely from the bottom of the windscreen. Same engine range as Rapid Saloon. Fruity 1.0 TSI is fun. 7-speed DSG is slow to shift. Mirroring the normal hatch's performance, the Škoda Rapid Spaceback's propulsion is looked after with 5 engine options, 3 petrol and 2 diesels. Power outputs consist of 90 horsepower to 125 horsepower. Smooth petrol engines. The petrol engine range starts inside UK with all the 95 horsepower 1.0 TSI engine, which although smooth and offering acceptable performance within the lower gears, soon runs out of steam as speeds increase. The 0 to 62 miles per hour sprint takes 11.0 seconds when equipped while using 5-speed manual and 11.3 seconds with all the 7-speed DSG automatic. The automatic adds some additional ease of use benefit, but is slow to answer sudden inputs, plus the slowed gear changes may be irritating. We also worry that if the car is set with kids and keep the other weight may highlight its performance shortcoming a lot more. Next, inside range may be the higher powered 1.0 TSI with 110 horsepower, which extra 15 horsepower makes an enormous difference while traveling. The good news is there's no significant penalty on the subject of CO2 emissions or economy if you ultimately choose this engine. The engine is smooth and quiet and with an abundance of power, so overtaking is easy, and also the addition of your sixth gear tends to make excellent motorway refinement. This engine is manual only, and is particularly capable of racing 62 miles per hour in 9.8 seconds. We debate that this engine will be the pick from the range. For people who require a little extra performance, completing the petrol make is the 1.4 TSI with 125 horsepower. This engine is automatic only, and sprints from 0 to 62 miles per hour in 8.9 seconds. Economical diesel engines. There are two diesel choices within the Rapid Spaceback range, a 60-minute 4-litre TDI and also a larger 1.6-litre version. The 1.4-litre TDI has 90 horsepower, which is available with either 5-speed manual gearbox or maybe a 7-speed DSG automatic. Regardless of transmission choice, it's the slowest engine within the Spaceback's range, 0 to 62 miles per hour in 11.6 seconds for that manual or 11.7 seconds to the automatic. The larger 1.6-litre TDI engine has 116 horsepower, and are going to be the better choice for those doing several thousand miles each year. Nevertheless, there is more power intended for overtaking, and it also still manages solid fuel economy figures. It manages a decent 9.9 second 0 to 62 miles per hour time, but is manual only. Placid and safe drive an automobile. Better placed out partying. Light steering. While it's not essentially the most exciting or engaging car to operate a vehicle, the Škoda Rapid Spaceback's handling is neat enough. With a well-balanced chassis and tight body deal with it inspires a considerable degree of confidence. The Spaceback displays finer numbers of traction during hard cornering, if you decide to push it. Nonetheless, it's an automobile that's exactly about being very easy to live with. It's very smooth as well as the ride is supple, only agitated because of the largest of ruts within the road. It also comes using the latest technology and safety systems like stability and traction control to actually always feel completely in control of the auto regardless from the conditions. Using a lighter weight design was key to your Rapid's inception, also it shows while traveling where it feels nippy and agile. It's not an auto that wills yourself onto thrash it, but it really is effective at gripping well when you throw it into a corner. The steering is light, even at motorway speeds. That makes it fidgety should you're heavy-handed with steering inputs, but makes all the Rapid Spaceback an easy task to dart out and park. Easy to get in touch to cellular phone. Controls all too easy to hand. Notchy manual gearbox. Inside, the Škoda Rapid Spaceback carries a simple and clean design, having a layout that makes it simple to navigate around. It's shared while using regular Rapid hatchback. The ones familiar using the brand will not likely find it difficult to utilize. Behind the steering wheel is really a set of clearly laid out instruments, with speedometer, rev counter and trip computer all present and correct. The center console itself is intuitive to make use of. The sat-nav in particular is not difficult to navigate around with clear, very easy to watch graphics. Handily, the instructions can be displayed inside the trip computer between your main instruments, therefore you don't always should look on the center console. Like other VW Group cars, the touch screen reacts at hand motions coming towards it, so some from the submenus kick off as your hand approaches. Using different media is simple, out-of-the-box tuning radio stations, while we such as way the USB and ON sockets are positioned next into a storage compartment well suited for your phone or iPod. The leader has essential controls on the website for volume and equipment like cruise control, but is not overwhelming or older cluttered, while the air conditioning and climate control are all too easy to use. Plenty of vents around the automobile ensure it actually reaches your desired temperature quickly. TSI petrols are hushed moving around. Ride definitely not affected by larger wheels. Clattery diesels could get tiresome. Comfort within the Škoda Rapid Spaceback is impressive, helped in part because of the supportive seats and lots of passenger room, allowing occupants to loosen up on longer journeys. 4 adults are often able to travel in complete comfort. If you select one in the TSI petrol engines, the motors are barely noticeable, but wind noise dominates the cabin at motorway cruising speeds. It's not as loud the place you can't use a conversation, but it really cancels out of the efforts small petrol engines make to stay as quiet as it can be. The 1.6-litre TDI diesel adds the classic diesel clatter towards the mix traveling, and is able to sound similar to a van even if your engine is warm. The suspension is reasonably soft, meaning bumps and potholes are addressed quite easily, making for a snug ride. Rear space is plentiful, with tons of legroom available even though your driver or front passenger and 6 feet tall. Headroom is every bit as very good, even if you decide on the optional panoramic sunroof. The window line is extremely high. That may lead children to be irritated with the lack of view out, but there's 2 USB points as standard that may charge cellular devices at the back end from the center console. Touchscreen infotainment on all models. Smartphone mirroring from Czech or over. Handy umbrella vintage Skoda touch. Similar to its more conventional Rapid hatchback counterpart, the Spaceback are going to be available in 3 trim levels: S, Tech and Sport. It's worth noting that aircon is standard throughout the range. Standard Škoda Rapid Spaceback equipment. The beginner's S comes well equipped together with the latest safety technology, but as befitting the elementary model it is really a little sparse with regards to items of convenience. Looking for the spec list, the one highlights to get picked out are 15-inch steel wheels, i6.5-inch touchscreen for your multimedia system, Bluetooth connectivity, remote central locking. Mid-range Tech trim has 16-inch alloy wheels, sat-nav, cruise control, rear parking sensors, climate control, mirror link, Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. A handy umbrella under top passenger seat. The range-topping Sport features 17-inch black alloy wheels, a panoramic glass roof, extended tailgate glass, sports seats and sports detailing for the exterior. Optional Škoda Rapid Spaceback extras. If you would like to make your Rapid Spaceback far more personal, then there's a range of options to make this happen. There are a good amount of paint colors from which to choose, for example the rather lurid rally green and pearlescent black. There are also additional alloy wheel choices to help put in a bit of extra style. Buyers after a little bit of extra convenience can specify heated seats in both leading and rear, xenon headlights, back and front parking sensors and also a parking camera. Full 5-star safety rating. Care Connect features emergency call function. Good standard of safety equipment. As you would expect through the Czech manufacturer's previous record on this sector, Škoda Rapid Spaceback safety levels are wonderful. Standard safety equipment includes front, side and head airbags, height-adjustable 3-point safety belts with pre-tensioners inside front, ABS, anti-lock braking system, and escape, electronic stability control, systems all fitted as standard. The Rapid Spaceback as well as its regular hatch sibling are available with Care Connect, which features an urgent situation call function, in addition to service or breakdown calling from a pair of buttons next towards the front interior lighting switches. Other optional safety measures include tire pressure control, fog lamps with cornering function along with the hill hold control assistant. ample space back and front, several cubbies and storage spaces, front center console cup holder way too high for bottles. Passenger space is when the Rapid Spaceback really shines. There's another 8mm of headroom above the saloon and legroom is generous. Even 6-footers may have little overuse injury in there. There isn't shortage of storage options inside the Škoda Rapid Spaceback either, with cup holders, iPhone holders, a sunglasses compartment, waste bins, ticket holders, cupboards and storage nets all available. It even gets the trademark Skoda ice scraper hidden neatly within the fuel filler cap. The Škoda Rapid Spaceback is 4,304mm long, 1,459mm tall and 1,706mm wide. Those numbers are just about meaningless by themselves, but as being a reference point, the Spaceback is slightly smaller than the usual Vauxhall Astra as well as a Ford Focus, yet offers more interior and boot space as opposed to latter. Škoda Rapid Spaceback practicality is really good. Despite not which has a boot as big because the Rapid hatchback, that doesn't stop the Spaceback still being competitive within the sector with 415 litres available stretching to at least 1,381 litres together with the rear seats folded flat. Also included is usually a double cargo floor which may be used to create an additional compartment, suitable for smaller things that you'd want to leave within on a more permanent basis. A double-sided floor cover with one carpeted side plus the other a rubber-like material which is dirt and water repellent. Ideal for carrying wet or muddy dogs or any outdoor gear which could damage the rug otherwise. There's also several hooks and nets on the market to help stop your shopping from rolling out through the drive home from your supermarket, whilst the armrest within the rear lowers to allow for longer items to become carried.